Hi everyone, welcome to VRC with Gaurav. In this video, we are going to solve a practice RC passage and the genre is going to be political sciences. Okay, so without any delay, let's go take a look what the passage says. I would recommend that you pause this video here, go through the text entirely. Then I've also provided the timestamps in the description box as well as the comment section. Please click on those timestamps to access the questions before you go through the video. Solve those questions, jot down your answers, and then you can come back to this point and then go through the entire explanation as well as the question analysis. Okay, that way you can also solve this passage as a sort of test. You can record your timing, you can record your accuracy, your answers, and then also immediately afterwards go through the explanation as well. Okay then. So starting with the passage, really interesting one. Although it might look a bit scary going by the length of the first paragraph, some people are sort of allergic to any passages which discuss politics or political science. Not to sound really sexist in nature, but generally I've seen this tendency a bit more accentuated in girls, that they really prefer not to attack passages which detail or which discuss stuff related to politics. But that is not the case here. Actually, a very good, interesting read. There's author, there's Plato, there's opinion regarding politics, and end of story. It has nothing to do with politics as we know it through newspapers or daily न्यूज आर्टिकल्स जो आते हैं एडिटोरियल्स वगैरह, उस प्रकार का नहीं, थोड़ा सा फिलोसॉफिकल एंगल व्हेन इट कम्स टू पॉलिटिक्स. ठीक है. सो व्हाट इज द ओपनिंग रिमार्क फ्रॉम द ऑथर कमिंग इन कि लेट अस से यू आर अ पॉलिटिकल रिसर्चर टुडे. ओके, so author says you come up with some kind of thought process, you have an ideology, you have done some kind of research, you have a philosophy, you come forward and try to sell it to the society, you try to propagate it through society. So nobody can guarantee you whether your philosophy will get accepted or not, whether it will survive, whether it will be considered as legendary, whether it will be remembered centuries later also or not. क्यों ऐसा? क्योंकि आपकी फिलॉसफी, आपका थॉट प्रोसेस सर्वाइव करेगा या नहीं, ये डिपेंड किस पे करता है? It depends entirely on what exactly? On whether the philosophy that you are trying to put forward, the political and social change that you are trying to bring about in society, okay, it depends on your timing. Okay, the shift in thinking which you are trying to bring forward in society, it should correspond to, it should be, in tandem with, it should match with the political and social status at that time in the particular society that you are a part. So short में अगर इसको लिखने जाए तो I can write it down like this, that success of political philosophy sort of completely dependent on, completely reliant on what timing, एक प्रकार से आप बोल सकते हैं. Although the passage has not used the word timing anywhere, but this is a inference that you can draw कि if your philosophy अगर गलती से 50-60 साल आगे पीछे हो गई, तो then people might forget about it. Nobody will be able to recall it. And your philosophy, your ideas might be genuinely good, but because your timing was off, maybe you were too late on the scene, maybe you arrived too early on the scene, इस वजह से आपकी बात अब किसी को याद नहीं. तो कुछ कुछ philosophies है which have become immortal through time, and author has given us a few names there. There was Thomas Hobbes जिन्होंने किताब लिखी थी Leviathan. Actually, this is a very famous work, and I cannot recall precisely which year, but in CAT 2017 or 2018, एक slot में Thomas Hobbes की philosophy के ऊपर पूरा एक RC passage था, and in another slot of the same year, there was a summary question regarding Thomas Hobbes का philosophy. Okay, very well-known guy, British guy. On the other hand, you have another very famous guy coming in the form of John Jacques Rousseau. Rousseau's social contract, something very elemental, something very fundamentally responsible for creating the chain reaction which ultimately led to the French Revolution of 1789. Amazing. Okay, and then lastly अगर आप थोड़ा सा 19th century में आते हो, तो you even have Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels का The Communist Manifesto, the book, the work which gave birth to socialism, which gave birth to communist way of thinking. तो ये बंदे हिट हो गए एक प्रकार से ऑथर से, क्योंकि जब ये अपनी फिलॉसफी लेकर सिनेरियो पर आए, तो उस टाइम पे द स्टेटस ऑफ द सोसाइटी वाज सच दैट इट वाज वेरी रिसेप्टिव ऑफ देयर आइडियाज एंड बूम दिस गाय simply succeeded and their philosophies survive even to this day. बट गारंटी नहीं दे सकते कि आप भी इनकी तरह सर्वाइव करोगे या आपकी आइडिया खत्म हो. एंड अनफॉर्चुनेटली व्हाट हैपेंस विद अ लॉट ऑफ पॉलिटिकल फिलोसॉफीज, व्हाट अ लॉट ऑफ अदर वर्क्स इन दिस फील्ड, दे डिसअपियर यार. बहुत ही सैड बात है. दे डिसअपियर, दे एंजॉय वेरी लिमिटेड सक्सेस. बट एंड दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बट, ऑथर सेज कि बॉस आपको यहाँ पे रुकना नहीं है. It is very important whether you might succeed or not, irrespective of that, we are always going to need political philosophy. It is always going to be there, especially if your society is undergoing a political crisis, facing a political challenge. तो उस moment में तो और भी ज्यादा जरूरत लगती है. ठीक है. And what do we as common people do at these moments, in such moments? What do we do as public? We need to dig deeper. We need to think more. Think, try to arrive at a solution कि यार ये political problem को solve कैसे करें. And what do we do at that moment of time? Author says this very important remark. Please pay attention. We turn not to the source. Okay, not to the source. मतलब आम जनता कोई पॉलिटिकल फिलोसोफर के पास नहीं जाती. लोग डायरेक्टली थॉमस हॉब्स के पास नहीं जाएंगे. लोग डायरेक्टली कार्ल मार्क्स के पास नहीं गए. नो, व्हाट पीपल डू इज people try to access different thoughts, different solutions through mass media like pamphlets, newspapers, magazines and the like. अगर आज के टाइम की आप बात करो तो it will also include social media. Meaning when a society is faced with a political challenge, people try to search for a solution. And how do they arrive at it? They arrive at it by using mass media and social media at their disposal. People do not directly go to a particular philosopher. ठीक है. And this is something author says every philosopher has known, and that is why उन्होंने भी, philosophers ने भी मास मीडिया का इस्तेमाल किया है, कोई बीच के एजेंट का इस्तेमाल किया है in trying to put forward their ideas among common people. मतलब कि you will not find a guy, a political philosopher जो बीच चौक में खड़े होकर, right in the middle of the town खड़े होकर, he screaming at the top of his lungs, बॉस मेरा ये आइडिया, मेरा ये सोल्यूशन. हो, he will take the help of newspapers, he will take the help of the media, and through media he will try to put forward his opinions. He will try to reach out to the public through these media. ठीक है. तो यहां तक एक नैरेटिव कवर हो गया. फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ, फर्स्ट हाफ इज डन. दैट need for political philosophy and philosophers is always going to be there, whether you guys succeed or not. Author is like यार देखो किसी के हाथ में नहीं है, अब ये आपका नसीब, आपकी टाइमिंग. नाउ ही इज रेजिंग अनदर सुपर फंडामेंटल क्वेश्चन, एंड जिसके अराउंड एक सब्सटेंशियल पार्ट ऑफ पैसेज घूमता फिरता है. व्हाट इज दैट? लेट्स टेक अ लुक. Author is saying, चलो मान लिया that political philosophy is always going to be needed in society. There is a genuine requirement. But let's question philosophy itself, political philosophy itself. How genuine is it? How worthy is it itself? मतलब कि let me paint before you an analogy. We know that everybody needs water to survive, right? एक human life लो या कोई भी living being लो, पानी तो लगता ही लगता है. Without water we can hardly live for just a few days and then we'll die. Okay. So author says, okay boss, I know human society, human beings require water, but let's put that aside and let's ask water itself. Dude, how good are you? I am going to question the quality of water. I am going to question the goodness, the worthiness of water itself. ये बात बाद में रखेंगे कि भाई जनता को जरूरत है. रुको रुको, पहले पानी के सवाल जवाब करें. तो समथिंग लाइक दैट ऑथर इज सेइंग कि what exactly political philosophy itself is good at, how genuine is it. ठीक है. And regarding it, in comes Mr. Plato. Very important philosophy now coming in. Mr. Plato का कुछ कहना है. Okay, what does Plato have to say? कि political philosophy, it will reveal a kind of truth to you, especially when you are going through a problem, especially when you are going through a challenge which you cannot solve with your everyday thought process. So at that time political philosophy is going to come forward to your rescue. अच्छा ठीक है. मतलब मिस्टर प्लेटो ने पॉलिटिकल फिलोसॉफी को एक मसीहा का दर्जा दे दिया, अ प्रॉफिट ऑफ सॉर्ट्स, अ प्रिंसली वॉरियर हु हैज कम टू रेस्क्यू यू. sort of a knight coming to the rescue of a damsel in distress, something like that. Okay. And to explain this situation, Mr. Plato now tells us a story. What is the story given in the second paragraph and the closing remarks of first one? Let's take a look at it. Okay, let me erase the screen for you. What does he say? Ki imagine karo that there is a cave, और उस cave में there are some prisoners. Okay, let's say this is a guy. Okay, there is another guy over here, and let's say there is another guy. Okay, and what these guys are doing is they are taking a look at the walls of this cave, and what do they see? They see these shadows over here. Can you see this shadow which I have highlighted? Okay, तो दिन रात ये बंदे इस shadows को ही देखते हैं, and to them these shadows have now become the real things. For them reality is nothing but these shadows. उनको लगता है यही सारी दुनिया है, यही हकीकत है. But what happens is one of these guys is able to escape from that cave, and he now steps out into the world outside. And lo and behold, what does he get to look at? Okay, what is he looking at? He gets to see pretty mountains. Okay, he gets to see the sunrise and sunset. He gets to see pretty birds out there. Okay, all right. There is maybe a beautiful river, typical primary school scenery, right? है ना, ऐसे ही तो बनाते थे. ठीक है, चलो. So what does the author say? That this guy now who had escaped the cave, now he goes back to the cave and he tells these guys inside the cave, कि boss, अरे नहीं, please don't look at the shadows. Look, I stepped out and I was able to see the real things are very different. What we are seeing is just shadow because of the sun rising and setting. असली चीजें तो बाहर है, चलो मेरे साथ बाहर देखेंगे कुछ. But these guys are like, no, shut the f up. We are not going anywhere. These shadows are the real thing. So effectively what has happened is this, that the guy who stepped out of the cave, he has come to the realization that shadows are not real. Okay. And what about the guys who are inside the cave? Guys inside the cave always never stepped out. They say shadows are real. Okay, that's their thought process. And why is Plato telling us this story? What is going on? Why is he boring us with this silly story? Author says, Plato says, कि ये बंदा जो बाहर निकला केव के, the guy who was able to see the nature around, the real truth out there, that is what philosopher is in a society. And who are the guys inside the cave? These are the common public. ये कॉमन पीपल ये है जो केव के अंदर ही रहते हैं, जिनको शैडोज रियलिटी लगती है. और फिलोसोफर वो है जिसने असली ट्रुथ देख लिया और अब जनता को कन्विंस करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, प्लीज बॉस, प्लीज कम आउट विथ मी, आई विल शो यू द रियल ट्रुथ. बट नोबडी पेज हिट टू दैट गाय, बिकॉज going out of the cave, breaking out of your shackles, that is such an uncomfortable thing to do. ठीक है, so this is the story narrated to us by Mr. Plato, very famous Greek philosophers, very famous. Okay, ठीक है, स्टोरी तो सुना दी, फिलोसोफर को एकदम गॉड लेवल दर्जा दे दिया. ओके, पुटिंग फिलोसोफर्स एंड देयर आइडियाज ऑन अ मैसिव पेडिस्टल. मतलब प्लेटो हैज ऑलमोस्ट क्रिएटेड अ प्रॉफिट आउट ऑफ अ फिलोसोफर. ठीक है, बहुत एकदम गॉड टाइप बना दिया है उसको. एंड रिगार्डिंग दिस, व्हाट इज द ऑथर ऑफ द पैसेज सेइंग? लेट्स टेक अ लुक. ऑथर सेज, यार मुझे माफ करो, मैं इससे सहमत नहीं हूं. My conception of political philosophy does not involve doing this. What? Saying that philosophers have a special kind of knowledge जो आम जनता के पास नहीं होता. प्लेटो तो कह रहा है कि फिलोसोफर को कुछ तो एक बड़ा सत्य दिख जाता है, and he tries to explain that beautiful truth to people. Author says ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. At least I don't believe this. What the people know and what a philosopher knows is pretty much the same. The only difference between common people and philosophers, what is it? That philosophers, they are much more critical in their thought process. They think very systematically. They think and reason far more depth as compared to aam insan. they take very few things as granted. They take very few things as granted. Okay. And he is now trying to explain it to us using a story now, using a real life example. He says you pick up any random politician from a Western country and ask that politician, boss, तुम्हारे goals क्या है? So that politician will say, I want to provide jobs for everybody. I will protect everybody's freedom. I'll try to give you economic growth, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, author says a common citizen will be satisfied with these answers. But a political philosopher will be like, dude, wait. तुमने ये गोल्स बोल दिए ना, चलो अब मैं तुम्हारे गोल्स के ऊपर फोकस करूंगा एंड आई विल आस्क यू डिटेल्ड क्वेश्चंस नाउ कि आउट ऑफ दीज सो मेनी थिंग्स दैट यू हैव लिस्टेड व्हाट एक्चुअली योर अल्टीमेट गोल्स आर, व्हाट इज द थॉट प्रोसेस, व्हाट इज द मोटिव, व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव बिहाइंड दीज गोल्स. Okay, so here you see the difference. Common public and philosopher almost in the same situation, almost in the same pedestal. The philosopher is asking more and more questions, more detailed probing. That's it. So what is the key takeaway from this narrative is the author and Plato, they are, sort of on the opposite teams. Author and Plato, opposite teams. ठीक है, ये क्रॉस मीनिंग अपोजिट है as far as it comes to recognizing the difference between common public and philosopher. Plato says philosopher is a godlike banda, author says नहीं ऐसा कुछ. ठीक है, so rounding of the passage, first half में क्या बोला था, political philosophy always going to be needed. ठीक है, you keep on doing your work, maybe your philosophy will succeed and become immortal, maybe it might not, but keep on doing it because society needs political philosophy. And then coming to the role, coming to the quality of a political philosopher, Plato and author's opinion differs. That's it. Okay? So I hope that this explanation is clear to you now. If you have not solved the questions yet, I strongly recommend that you go ahead, solve the questions using the timestamp, and then come back for the explanation. Okay? Till then, I'll clear the screen and then we will solve the questions. Okay, so coming to the first question now, what does the author say over here? Which of the following statements is or are true with respect to the need for political philosophy? And whereas the author commented about the need for political philosophy, he has mentioned this over here. But the need for political philosophy is always there. Whether your philosophy will succeed, will be immortal, or will it die out, ये तो अब time to time depend करेगा. ठीक है, चलो, let's go through the sentences. We have to determine which of these three sentences are true. Sentence 1. What does it say? There exists a need for political philosophy always. Good, irrespective of the political condition. 100%. It is highlighted over here in green in first paragraph. Please take a look at that. So yes, this is true. Okay. Next, statement 2. We confront our beliefs only when faced with crisis. This is a problem. This is a problem. Why? Definitely it is given to us that when a society is going to face political challenges, okay, we are going to dig deeper. We are going to probe the basis of our political beliefs. But कहीं पर ऐसा नहीं बोला है that is the only time when we do this. It is possible that we might be doing this even when there is no crisis in front of us, there is no challenge before us. Okay, so that is the difference between the statement second and what the passage is saying. What passage says, if faced with crisis, 100% you are going to challenge your beliefs. If not faced with crisis, nahi, फिर नहीं पता. Maybe you will do that confronting beliefs, maybe you won't, who knows. So statement 2 is not true when it comes to the passage. You cannot use forced quantifiers or qualifiers like this. So bye-bye to this second statement. This is false. Okay. So at this stage, you can afford to take a look at the options and you can see option B and C have two mentioned over there. So you can throw B and C immediately out. And D says all of the above. So दो तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. So you can throw it out and hence arrive at the answer, which is only one. So this is a quick and dirty fashion of solving questions. I generally don't quite recommend doing this always. But here we got lucky and can arrive at the answer very quickly by saving time. But nonetheless, let's go take a look at what option 3 says. Sentence 3 say, need for political philosophy, it is maximum. Acha. When political opinions need to be supported by political truths. Absolutely irrelevant, completely tangential to what the discussion is. Okay. The need for political philosophy, it is always there. Author has written. He has nowhere implied कि सबसे ज्यादा कब लगता है, सबसे कम कब लगेगा. ठीक है. He says कि if there is a crisis before us, definitely we will need political philosophies. But यहाँ पर जो लिखा है political opinion supporting political truths blah blah blah, wrong, absolutely random, बिल्कुल नहीं. Hence answer option A. Very straightforward, very easy. I hope that you got it correct. Still, if any doubts, please drop them in the comment section. We'll go and take a look at it. ठीक है. तो चलो तब तक के let's go tackle second question. Which of the following can be inferred from the passage? ठीक है. So when you go through these questions like this, na, please keep in mind you have to think along the lines of the author, not anybody else. In this case, skimming through the passage could heavily damage your accuracy in this question. Why so? Because there are some people who like to skim through the passage and then attack the question. If you did that, you would be very likely to think that option A is true when it comes to the passage. Why? Because Plato ने तो बोल दिया है कि yes, political philosophers के पास में कुछ extra का ज्ञान होता है. They have some special knowledge which they try to convince the world about. But later on in the third paragraph, author has mentioned, nahi, I don't believe that philosophers have some special knowledge. I'm underlining it. Just a second. Pardon for the mess up. Coming back, political philosophers have specialized knowledge. This is the opinion of Plato. Author says what? Author says, nahi. My idea does not involve giving philosophers special kind of knowledge. No, no, no. So author says no to this. So answer option A nahi ho sakta. Plato will say yes to this, but not the author. And we have to think like the author. ठीक है? चलो आगे चलते हैं. Jumping the option here, option D, let's take a look at it. Prisoners in caves believe that the shadows they see are different from real things. No, go back a few moments and look at that equation I had written. The people in caves believe that shadows are the real things. The guy who goes out, he has come to the conclusion that nahi, shadows are different from real things. So option D, once again going opposite to the story which Plato told us. Going to option C now. Political philosophers spread their knowledge directly to the people. Hell no. Look at this part over here in first para. That Aam Janta turns to mass media, newspapers, vagara vagara, and political philosophers also, they rely on media to spread their ideas among the public. They directly do not reach out to the people. Hence, out. Naturally, what is the answer now? Answer option B. That a political beliefs draw on the original thoughts of political philosopher, although not necessarily as directly told by them. Definitely. What does option B say? कि आम जनता पॉलिटिकल फिलोसोफर से सीखती है, उनकी बातें सुनते हैं हम. गुड. बट जरूरी नहीं कि डायरेक्टली उनसे. देयर कैन बी अ मिडल मैन इन बिटवीन. बीच में कोई मध्यस्थी हो सकता है. तो यस है ना, मध्यस्थी कौन है? हु इज द मिडल मैन? It's the media, newspaper, pamphlet, magazine, and today social media. 100% we can infer this, absolutely no doubt. Okay, so very clear cut, very straightforward answer. I hope that you got it right. If there is still any residual confusion, please drop it in the comment section. I'm glad to help you. Okay, let's go ahead. ठीक है. Which of the following statement about political philosophers is validated by the passage? Once again, you have to think like the author. Please do not think like Plato here. Plato के opinion से author सहमत नहीं है. ठीक है? So let's go through the options. Option A, a political theory that provides answer to problems faced by a time may not necessarily be correct. Okay, what does it imply? What does it imply? कि आपने अगर एक पॉलिटिकल फिलोसॉफी, पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी आपने दी, ठीक है, तो वो सही होगी या सही नहीं भी हो सकती है. दिस इज अ बिट ऑफ अ प्रॉब्लम. Author has nowhere commented about this, whether a political philosophy theory is correct or not. No. What is he saying? Particular time पे society में, if somebody is putting forward a theory, whether the theory will succeed or not, गारंटी नहीं दे सकते. सो एक्चुअली ऑप्शन ए को आपको अगर सही बनाना है, ठीक है, तो व्हाट विल यू नीड? You will need to be, may not necessarily be immortal or popular or everlasting. ऐसा वर्ड चाहिए था वहां पे, तब जाके वो सेंटेंस सही होता है. वेदर करेक्टनेस और इनकरेक्टनेस के ऊपर ऑथर हैज नॉट मेड एनी. ठीक है, सो लेट्स बिड गुड बाय टू ऑप्शन ए. ऑप्शन बी, the social and political conditions of a time, they will decide what if a political philosophy will survive and become immortal. 100% absolutely bang on point. Please look at this blue highlighted mark over here in the first paragraph. First para, blue highlighted lines, absolutely in line with B, hence it becomes the answer. Okay. Still, what does option C say? Political philosophers do not think in the same way as common people. ये मिस्टर प्लेटो का ओपिनियन है. ऑथर इससे खुश है क्या? नो. व्हाट डज द ऑथर से? प्लीज कम विथ मी टू द लास्ट पैराग्राफ. ऑथर सेज philosophers they think and reason in much the same way as everybody else. सिमिलैरिटी बता रहा है, और ऑप्शन सी बोलता है नॉट थिंक सिमिलरली. एब्सोल्युटली अपोजिट टू व्हाट द ऑथर सेज. हैंड्स आउट. डी, political philosophers, they propose a shift in thinking that corresponds to political and social change. Mistake बहुत बड़ा of generalization. For this you will need to read the blue lines of first para once again. What does those blue lines say? कि political philosopher is giving a theory. If that theory corresponds to the change which is going on in society, if these two are in sync, then that theory will succeed, like Karl Marx, like Hobbes, like Rosuka theory. But if they are not in sync, if they do not correspond properly to each other, then sorry sir, your theory will be forgotten very soon. तो ऑप्शन डी में जनरलाइजेशन ये हो गया. इसको सही बनाने के लिए यहाँ पे लिखना चाहिए था some philosophers succeed in doing this, not everybody. Hence option D gets kicked out. Very fine error. Very likely इसमें कुछ लोग ट्रैप हो गए होंगे. So if you are somebody who got trapped in this option, I hope that this is now clear to you. Nonetheless, if any residual doubts, please drop them in the comment section. And with that, we are done with 3 questions. Let's go to the last final question now, and then we are done with this passage. Okay. So far, I have found this passage a lot to my liking. Very comfortable with this genre actually. Question 4. Which of the following will the author agree with? The most typical critical reasoning question. You have to think like the author here. Author is like, भैया philosopher आम जनता जैसी है, बस सवाल ज्यादा करते हैं, डिफरेंट नहीं है, गॉड नहीं, इनको हीरो मत बनाओ. ठीक है. Actually, all 4 options are concerned with the closing remark of the author कि आप वेस्टर्न फिलोसोफर, वेस्टर्न पॉलिटिशियन को उठाओ और उसको सवाल करो. तो आम जनता will be happy listening to the goals which the politician lists. Philosopher will be like, no, wait, I am now going to question your goals. I will ask you what is the underlying objective. I will ask you what is the ultimate goal that you have set for yourself. Don't give me a broad generic list. Give me a priorities proper. ठीक है. So answer here will become C. That while a politician only sets goals, a political philosopher investigates, he asks, he deep dives into the underlying objectives of those goals. What ultimately matters to you, man, that I am going to take a look at. इसलिए answer option C. B comes slightly close to it, but a very horrible word present over here is dictates. What does dictate mean? To instruct, okay, to command, to issue assertive directions. No. What does the passage tell us? The philosopher will ask, the philosopher will investigate. Hence option B gets kicked out. And option A and D are anyway very straightforward, liable for rejection. Still, if you need clarification with regarding those, please mention it in the comment section. Otherwise, for vast majority of aspirants, they are very easily possible to eliminate. Okay? So with that, we are done with the entire passage and all the 4 questions. Thanks a lot for watching. If you like the content, please press like, share, and subscribe with your fellow CAT aspirants. Till then, tada, bye-bye, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.